Have you ever had someone say to you, "Oh, they're so well behaved for me"? And you're standing there thinking, "That's not the child I see at home." Well, there's actually a really important reason for this, parents, as to why children melt down more with you. Hi, I'm Jane, and welcome to today's episode. We're going to be discussing why children melt down more with their parents or at home than with other people. So many parents often quietly worry that their children behaves worse with them because they're doing something wrong. But actually, the opposite of this is true. So children actually release their emotions when they feel safest. And normally that is with their parents. So children might go off to school, they might go to different activities, and they're holding everything together. They're feeling like they have to be switched on, so to speak. It's exactly the same when parents go to work or we go to social functions and we feel like we're switching on, and there's a certain persona that comes over us. And this is exactly the same as your child. So whether they're out socializing with their friends, whether they're at school, whether they're at kindergarten, whatever they're doing, they're on that little bit of switched on mode. And then it's also known as a performance mode, which a lot of people do. However, the more authentic and real you can start to feel as yourself in all these situations, and you allow your child to be, the easier this is actually going to become. So when your child gets home from whatever activity they're experiencing, they go into safety mode, so to speak. So they finally relax, they start to feel themselves, and they can unwind like we all do as adults as well. So children then begin to release their emotions that they may have been bottling up, that they may have been carrying with them for hours or throughout the whole day. And this is when the behavior can turn and switch, and then this is when you as the parent start to notice the different behavioral changes. So to explain this really simply, when your child is feeling safest, their nervous system decompresses, which means they might have a meltdown over you giving them the wrong dinner that they particularly didn't want that night. It might be that they just start crying over the smallest things, which rationally you can't understand. However, this is a great way for them just to release those pent-up emotions that they've been carrying with them all day. It might be that they're very irritable at home and they're very snappy with you. Now, please don't take this personally, because it's not about you at all. This is about your child releasing. I do remember once when my daughter came home, and I could tell the minute I picked her up, she was feeling very dysregulated. And we got home, and something really insignificant to me, which was, I think I placed her water bottle on the table and she wanted it on the bench, for example. Anyway, the tears just started flowing and she was crying uncontrollably and just sobbing. And I knew, thankfully, that this was a real release. It had nothing to do where I'd placed the water bottle. It was more about her just releasing from having a really big day out. So she cried and cried, and I asked her if she would like a cuddle, and she responded with a yes. So we lay there cuddling together on the bed, and it was just really cathartic for her just to be able to release those emotions and helping her re-regulate. I kept my calm. A lot of it initially was directed at me. I hate you, Mum. You're the worst mum in the world. And I was just showing love and empathy because I could see she needed that outlet. She needed that release. And I'm being one of her safe people. I'm there to comfort and support her through this time. So after a few minutes of tears and then cuddles, she was absolutely fine. And she sat up and she said, "I feel so much better now, Mum." And I said, "That's great, sweetie. That's really good. You're able to release all those emotions, those big feelings that you're feeling and experiencing today." And after that, for the rest of the afternoon and evening, she was great. She'd had that outlet. She'd had that release. It had nothing to do with me personally, but she'd been carrying it all together with her all day. And then I was her safe person where she could just let loose and unwind. So some suggestions for you as the parent, and whether this be co-parenting, the primary parent, it's really about connecting with your child first. That's the main number one goal here. When your child is just with you or at home and you're starting to notice the behavior shift, know that they're feeling dysregulated within themselves. So it's really about you picking up on that, connecting with your child to potentially be able to co-regulate with them. And this could be from them coming home after a day at school, after a day at kinder, after a day out with friends, maybe doing some sporting activities, whatever it is that they've been holding themselves and carrying themselves a certain way that they potentially need to release in their safe space and with you as their safe parent. So another option might be going back to those 5 regulation languages. If they are starting to melt down, knowing that you can implement any of those regulation languages depending what their primary or their secondary or what they're needing in that moment. So whether it is staying around them and just being that close proximity and that presence, or allowing them to shake it off and move and run and getting that movement and release, or whether it's words and understanding and talking with them through empathy, or touch and comfort and giving them cuddles and just being around them for what they need, or whether it's routine and they need that predictability. They know what you're going to do. They know how you're going to support them in that moment, and that's their routine, and that's one of their regulation languages. So for you as the parent, it's really about helping your child emotionally and feel safe and connecting with them and just being there, being able to co-regulate from whatever transition or whatever they are releasing when they are with you at home, and really remembering that you're not doing anything wrong, you're their safe person. It's a bit of a compliment, I guess you could frame it like that if you'd like to look at it. That's how I see it. I think, oh, I feel so honored for this little person to be able to express themselves so freely and openly and honestly with no judgment in front of me. So I see it as just a beautiful experience that they're going through, and I'm there and I have the ability to support them, which is really special. So I hope some of this has helped today. And if you would like to drop any comments, ask any questions, please do so. And my next video, I'm going to discuss the 3 biggest regulations mistakes that parents I often see make. So we'll touch on that next week, so stay tuned. But thank you for watching, subscribe to the channel, and look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.